After the hiatus, we are finally greeted with an episode. The episode starts with Go taking care of his Pokemon. Then we cut to Ash training Riolu. After getting a call, Ash decides to help out with Go. But apparently Ash and Go are getting into the mystery of who is taking all the food. Go's Pokemon are largely getting hungry, and tensions are rising and fighting ensues, and we get various interactions with the Pokemon. Meanwhile, at this time, Cascoon is about to evolve. When fighting gets too much for the Cascoon, Golurk stands in the way of a directed fire attack, and then its seal breaks. It's up to Ash and Go and the Pokemon to reseal Golurk and return to normal. However, it's continuing to rain as a result of Golurk, and it gets bad, especially for the Cascoon. Eventually, the Pokemon work together to allow Cascoon to evolve into Dustox using Sunny Day to clear the skies. The Pokemon eat food, and while talking, Ash and Go redirect their attention to what I will call a hidey hole, and where all the missing food apparently has been. The food hasn't been eaten, instead it was being there stored by Squovit. Short summary? Well, that's because this episode didn't have a lot of serious plot points that would require more than a short summary. It was basically straight to the point. Instead, this review will focus more on what I felt about this episode. But first, let's address the Morpeko in the room. I cannot believe we got bamboozled. A lot of us, and I do include myself into this, thought this episode would revolve around Morpeko being the food thief. I mean, how could it not? The summary was about a food thief, and then we got the upcoming episodes and preview, and BAM! Morpeko on the ground next to some food bags. It seemed clear-cut that Morpeko would be the culprit and it would get caught in this episode. However, that turned out to be a misdirect because in the end the culprit was none other than Squovit, which in retrospect makes a lot more sense than Morpeko, but I still think it's ultimately jarring that a food thief episode exists, and we're also going to get Morpeko in the anime with it next to the food bags. But I guess the reason why Morpeko didn't show up here in this episode is they likely didn't have an explanation as to why it was in the Sakuragi Park, and it's not like they were building it up or anything like previous episodes. Oh, there's Morpeko or something. I'll take this loss as to represent the idea that there were some clever shenanigans going on in the background, or I speculated incorrectly. My only issue is we currently only have 2 Galar episodes coming up. It would be weird to throw Morpeko into one of those episodes, though I suppose there could be one after the Koharu P-Dove episode. After all, the summary makes no mention of Ash and Go, so they might still be in Galar, and if they show up in the episode, maybe that episode is also Morpeko's episode. Who knows? Anyway, enough of the irrelevant topic. Let's actually get into my thoughts on the episode. I love episodes like this, and in terms of filler, these are the types of episodes I want to see. Sure, Go has a ridiculous amount of Pokemon, but even so, we did get all of Ash's Pokemon he has with him in this generation. You know, like Pikachu, Mr. Mime, all the way up to Riolu. So, why do I like fillers like this? Well, if you flashback or imagine what 5th generation anime was, you'll remember, or be shocked to learn, that Ash had a lot of Pokemon during this generation. Not counting Pikachu, he had Unfezant, Oshawott, Snivy, Pignite, Scraggy, Leavanny, Boldore, Papatoad, and Crocodile. The major issue people had of 5th generation anime is that a lot of these Pokemon just didn't get a lot of screen time, especially Palpitoad, who only ever showed up in heavy battle episodes. This was at odds with quite a few filler episodes that we had in which barely any Pokemon showed up outside of Pikachu, Axew, and for some episodes Meowth, and of course maybe a couple of Pokemon of the episode Pokemon. Not any of the trainers Pokemon that we see every day. Take the Gigalith Alder episode. The only Pokemon that showed up there were Ash's Pikachu, Iris's Axew, I believe Officer Jenny's Herdier, Bouffalante, Gigalith, or Alder's Bouffalante, a random wild Gigalith, I think, Deerling, Patrat, Sandile, P-Dove, and Lillipup. That's a handful, right? Sure, but most of these Pokemon were background characters. After all, I said Pikachu was Ash's, Axew was Iris's, Herdier was Jenny's, and Bouffalant was Elder's. The rest were either wild or trainer Pokemon cameos. I can't remember, but it was ridiculous. The worst offender was the episode that only had Pikachu, Meowth, Axew, BEM, Duosion, which belonged to Officer Jenny in that episode, Temple, and I believe the Temple was just a scene transition Pokemon. It like showed up at like the end or the beginning or something, and it was just popped out of the water, so it was just a brief shot. The primary reason for the lack of Pokemon was Behem stole the Pokemon in that episode. That's why we got very little. But, one Pokeball could have been left behind, like Palpitoad, and could have been used instead. Anyway, I just hate fillers like this where they use the least amount of Pokemon. Rotom's Wish episode of XY also only had 5 Pokemon as well. These are just horrible, awful fillers in my opinion when they don't utilize the Pokemon. This was a great filler episode because it used almost all of the Pokemon Go and Ash had. Rest in peace, Executor. Or Execute. Why did I put Executor when it was Execute? Never mind. Anyway, haha, funny. I put the wrong name down. And the interactions were fantastic. If I have to watch filler episodes, then I want fillers to be about the trainers' Pokemon that showcase their personality. I want Pokemon to be about Pokemon, and not just mostly about the trainers. Come on, Pikachu, let's save this dude, and not have the episode be about Pokemon at all. Pikachu, what the hell is even that? The point is, I could live with fillers as long as we get Pokemon. If Riolu is being adorable, if Palpitoad gets to display personality, it will be a fantastic episode, even if it is filler, and I'll enjoy it. What I don't want is just the usual Pokemon we see in every episode, Pikachu, Reboot in this series, and maybe a couple of more Pokemon. Absolutely not. I will forever hate filler episodes like that. Perhaps in the future we'll get a Mr. Mime and Gengar solo episode where the only other Pokemon are maybe Riolu, Pikachu, and Reboot. Then that would be fantastic and fine. Because at least it'll focus on those characters that we don't get to see in every episode. I just want to see Pokemon outside of, battling and just barely showing up. Anyway, those are my main thoughts of this episode. Now I want to list off the more specific moments that I like, starting with Ash's Riolu. I was a little bit hesitant on Ash's Riolu in the capture episode. It wasn't necessarily portraying a personality I really liked it. I got it, but I still got Riolu, but I still wanted an adorable Riolu. I didn't quite get Aurasphere Riolu adorable, but I got nearly equal in a lot of ways, and in other ways even more adorable. Because even Aurasphere Riolu was a little off in the beginning, standoffish with Ash in the beginning, until it properly bonded with Ash, and then we got those cute moments later on. Here in this episode, Ash's Riolu was just ordinarily Riolu adorable in this episode. It trained using its vacuum in this episode. Its ordinary interactions with everyone were adorable. It acting like a cute puppy was also enjoyable and adorable. And acting like a baby needing comfort by Ash was really adorable. I also like how this episode confirmed that while Riolu doesn't like to be touched, it doesn't mind being it does like being attached to Ash, like clinging onto his leg or whatever, something like that. That was probably one of my favorite aspects of this episode. Riolu just being adorable. If I can only get an adorable Phantom episode as well. Oh well. Other moments I liked. Gengar attacking Ash for falsely accusing it. The more hilarious thing was that Gengar was smiling through this, so it looked like a common occurrence, but we know Gengar was hurting. I do like the cameo, I just wish we got more of Gengar. I think barring Gengar's capture episode, we're starting to oversaturate Gengar with Dragonite and Riolu focus, which isn't bad, I just want to see more of Gengar. Outside of the cool battle where it murdered a Raichu. I mean, Ash finally has a Gengar a lot of us wanted him to have since Haunter. Sure, maybe people wanted Riolu more, and we're getting a lot of Riolu focus. And Gengar will come up soon in the Corinna episode, probably. I just would like a little bit more Gengar, that's all. Ghost Pokemon in the vast majority are pretty cool in general. I mean, we get to see a lot of personalities highlighted. Mischievous, Zyther, although that was more highlighted in this episode. Darmanitan, at least a little bit more aside from the Score Bunny evolution episode. Then we got Sandile, Beedrill being hungry and wanting food, Squovit being kind of adorable and clueless, Golurk only wanting to make sure the fighting doesn't cross a line, such as it won't stop the fighting, but it will protect the absolutely defenseless, like Cascoon, so that they can evolve. More explicitly, I did enjoy Mischievous and Sandile. Before that though, I got to give a shout out to Parasect for not taking Mischievous's crap. That was hilarious. Speaking of which, more in regards to Venonat, Mischievous had to have given it PTSD. I mean, Venonat seemed like it had a heart attack, and then Mischievous was floating away, and then it was like, oh no, I'm hungry, and then Venonat still in the foreground, completely like dead. Anyway, the interaction between Sandile and Mischievous really stood out because these are like mischievous Pokemon, as it were, and they had like a common goal of, getting food. Mischievous had a plan to get more food by making Sandile seem like it was really strong. Then it impresses Darmanitan with the poison and normal type Pokemon, only for them to face the bug horde Pokemon, all those bug Pokemon, and we get a hilarious white shot of Mischievous and Sandile realizing they were way over their head. And then the heel turn, where they turned on Darmanitan's group, was also just really hilarious. Also, Talo being nice and sharing food with the Spearow was pretty nice. And then following that, we got the far-fetched leak scene, which was hilarious. Dragonite being Dragonite was also nice. I just can't wait to see it battling against Corinna. If I were to have a criticism of this episode, it's a really minor one, and one that I really don't care about, because we got a hilarious Beedrill with Ash Shot. And the issue that I have is I didn't quite like how Ash was kind of being dumb in the early scene with Beedrill. I find it weird that based on the translations, Ash was like, oh, you ate all your food and you want more food. I'm not sure I entirely like that assumption from Ash, since the way Beedrill is acting, you would think, no, I think someone just ate its food, or that it wasn't able to eat. But aside from that, the episode was really good and I enjoyed it. So anyway, what did you think of the episode? Let me know in the comment section below. As for the next video, I don't have any extra plans at the moment to do except the next episode. So it'll probably be the review for the Team Rock episode, maybe. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.